Today's video is all about Primal steps. Don't go anywhere. If you're new to this channel, guys, my name is Corey. I'm happy to help you out with anything hunting and fishing. Hit that subscribe button down. We've got a little icon here in the corner for you in the bottom right part of your screen, and underneath that you can also click the subscribe button. If you want to click the bell as well, that's going to help you stay up to date with all the videos coming from the Relentless Sportsman channel. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this one. Primal steps are a lightweight solution to climbing a tree. You may have heard of wild edge steps. Those are the most popular type of step on the market, and nothing against them, but they're pretty pricey. So if you want a cheaper alternative, these Primal steps are probably the way to go. So as you can see here, you have a bar that you would stand on, the two standoffs that are positioned into the tree bark, and then down here as well is another contact point with the tree. And once this is cammed over and in place, it doesn't go anywhere. It's solid and it works really well. Let's talk about the specs now. So I've got the scale set at 0, as you can see. 13 ounces, not even a pound. So the rope is spliced on to this step. That's something that I did after purchasing these steps because the rope doesn't actually come with it. So at just under a pound, you can imagine it's a pretty lightweight op. Problem is, with climbing sticks, there's usually 2 or 3 steps on a stick. This is just one step. It takes a lot less space in a pack, and that's the good thing. That's the selling point that convinced me to try out these steps. Let's see how wide they are. So the step width from here to here is 6.5 inches. Plenty of space for a big boot during winter time or any standard size boot. The distance between the step and the tree, that's something that is often overlooked by a lot of hunters, but on here it's 4 inches. That's important because if you have a large boot, you're going to need that distance back from the tree. A lot of tree steps these days are positioned very tight to the tree, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but in a lot of cases, especially during late season when you have large boots on, you're going to want that distance away from the tree so your boot can fit on here and you don't feel like you're going to fall or slip off the step. So I suppose a lot of people are wondering, how do these things work? And it's very similar to the wild edge step. So when I install it on the tree, I simply get the tension that I need and I cam it over. I'll show you more specific details later on. But what I've done with this one is I've taken wild edge ropes, ordered them separately, 1 rope for each step. I've spliced the rope and placed it on to this step, which is super easy to do. I was a little intimidated by that, not having a factory splice, but I did it myself. They give you a splicing tool when you order these ropes, and it was super easy. It took, I would say, maybe 4 minutes to splice 8 ropes, and it's hung on there pretty well. It's done a fantastic job so far. These Primal steps come with a metal buckle and a strap that's sewn on, and I cut those off immediately because the metal buckle was heavy. I didn't even want to weigh it. I could just tell by holding on to it that that was way too heavy for a strap to go on something like this. I purchased these so I could have a small profile walking in the woods and become even more mobile than using climbing sticks. Now this video purpose is just to explain to you what the Primal steps are. I'm going to do another video showing you specifically how to put these sticks onto a tree. So stay tuned for that. Let me show you how easy this is to put on a tree. And now we're set. It's not going to go anywhere. How much do they cost? 4 of these steps you can pick up for $30. In my case, I wanted at least 8, so they were $60, and then I paid $20 for the ropes to attach these to a tree. So in total, I paid $80 to purchase 8 steps plus the straps to get me up in a tree. Not too bad in comparison to other things on the market these days. To take this back off the tree, uncam it, push this up like this, and it's off. It's really fast, really simple. There is a little bit of a learning curve. I suggest not using these for the first time on a hunt, practicing 2 or 3 times in your yard, or maybe right where you park the car going into the woods before you actually use these in a hunting situation. So as you can see here, when they're all stacked together and they fit together really nice, from up at the top down to the bottom is approximately 14 inches. That's something you want to consider when you carry these into the woods. These ropes take up a lot of space. They're not the smallest. So what I like to do before I put them in a backpack, set them inside as neat as I can, although it doesn't really matter that much because you're taking them out anyway. But I pack them something like this and I pick up the whole stack and into the bag they go. It doesn't need to look nice. It doesn't need to be perfect. I was concerned about the noise with metal here, but once they're in the bag, and especially if I have a jacket in there with it, or it's a smaller backpack, they don't make noise when I'm walking. It's weird. I thought it was going to, but I've never heard these ever make noises, and I've walked several miles through pretty bumpy, rough terrain that a lot of people would never even walk through, and I've never heard one of these make a noise to this day. And when I take them out of my bag, I move them really slowly, just like I would with anything. There's no reason to be in a rush. These ropes I found in the middle of these steps actually help dampen the noise a little bit, especially in a small confined backpack. My suggestion to you is have the smallest bag you can get away with. Always take the least amount of equipment in the woods you can get away with, rather than taking everything just in case you might need it. Just take what you need to kill a deer. Just take what you need to get a deer out of the woods. What you have here are my 3 hunting backpacks. They don't look that different, but believe me, they're very, very different. This is an expensive, hardcore, waterproof, carries your gun. It's got all of the fancy bells and whistles on it. This one here in the middle is the one I actually use the most. It's super, super simple. If you know me, you know I like simple. And this one over here is an even smaller bag that condenses down. And so what I'm about to show you is how I would carry those Primal steps in one of these. So what I do is I use the round part right here to be on the bottom of the bag, so the weight is being pushed on there and not ripping through the bag with a sharp pointy end like these. When I'm ready to take these steps out of the bag, I simply grab this top one and slide it out. It's that easy. The rope comes with it. I do not need to pull this step out and then what's wrong with the rope. The way I have them, I simply just put them in here, twisted it, and set it back down, and the rope seems to come out fine. I haven't had an issue with it yet. So how I would put these in this bag is I would simply set the bag down, take the metal steps, set them in, close the bag, obviously, and that's literally it. They're all in there. I have no problems. I still have room for a light jacket, grunt call, rangefinder, milkweed to check the wind, hand warmer if it's that time of year. So as far as taking up space, these take up very, very little space. Now let's compare that to a standard size climbing stick. So I kind of laughed when I first saw this. This is a double step stacked outdoor climbing stick, 21 inches long, the top step back here to where my thumb is. There's nothing special about it. It's not huge, it's not small, it's just a double step stick. One of my sticks is quite a bit bigger than 8 of these steps. Now, if I were to add 3 more sticks, which is the set I have, that would come out to about here. You're talking about a lot more space and a lot more weight. My 4 sticks in the strap weigh about 12 pounds. Let's see how much Primal steps weigh, 8 of them, and the ropes that I put on there. All right, so the scale's set at 0. We are at 7 pounds and 8 ounces. See that? All right, so you get to the tree you want to climb. Now you have to get up this thing. What do? It's not like just taking sticks and putting them on your belt with some paracord or a gear tie. Instead, what I do is I take my backpack and flip it around so I can access the backpack. I open up the top just enough to grab 1 step, and I put 1 step on the tree, secure it, go up and do that again, all the way up the tree with the backpack on the front of my body. So one of the reasons why sticks are so popular is because in a way they're dummy proof. When you have the stick set up on the tree and it's on there and you just push it down that inch with whatever you use, a buckle, a Versa strap, a rope, the cam's over, whatever, it's not going anywhere usually. They're very, very safe and very reliable. Going from my 4 sticks to my 8 Primal step, I just shed off over 4 pounds and a whole bunch of bulk. That's huge for me. I don't know about you, but for me that's a big deal. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking climbing sticks. I still use mine quite a bit. I would say almost half the time. So a question I kept asking myself is, why doesn't everybody buy Primal steps if it's that much better, that much lighter? And I think I found the reason. It's because there's a learning curve. They make people feel uncomfortable that they have to memorize how to tie a knot or do a loop a certain way. You've got 8 different attachment points to the tree. With my sticks, I've got 4. So now you're tying and untying things. Sometimes you can't get to cam over. You need to know when and how to use them on a tree that's a little crooked. Just the other day, I was on a tree, that aspen tree at the end of a marsh, that went straight at the beginning, then it went like this, then it kind of went back the other way. And it took me 30, 40 minutes to get up in the tree because these kept turning a little bit. So using a tree in your yard, that's easy. Going out in the wood, trying to be safe, trying to be quiet, pretty big learning curve. And I think that's the #1 reason why people prefer sticks instead of steps like this. Okay, so if I was gonna put these up in a tree, it would kind of look like this. I'm not gonna demonstrate all of them for you, but my bottom step would be at about knee height. My next one would be 2 feet up over here, and I'd simply alternate. I'd have one here for my right foot, then go to my left foot, then go to my right foot, then go to my left foot. See what I'm saying? So you're stepping up just like you would on stairs or something, 1 foot after the other. What I do with these is I simply just wrap them around several times to this bottom contact point, and that seems to work just fine. Some of the trees are a lot bigger than this, so I don't have as much rope. It keeps them from blowing in the wind. It's not as simple as just like flipping them over and hoping they don't blow. They're gonna move around a little bit. I often have a lot of excess rope, especially on these smaller trees. Like if you put it down like this, that basically did nothing. So you're gonna have to make sure you wrap it around this point down here. Same with that one down there so they don't blow in the wind. I really hope you learned something. I'm not trying to say you should use those. I'm just saying if you're a run and gun hunter like I am, if you like the mobile system, you like small, affordable equipment that works, it's something to consider. If you have some other options out there that I'm missing or something that I didn't put in this review, make sure you leave that in the comments below. Take care. I'm going to do another video on how to tie the rope and how to splice the rope as well, coming up soon. Stay tuned for that one. Bye-bye.